So Kaskai Nashikar, today we have our first podcast about ML Nashik. What does ML Nashik do? What kind of activities ML Nashik do related to GSoC and all of the queries which were asked by the gigs. So today all of these questions are been getting solved by our organizers of ML Nashik. So let's get started. Welcome in today's podcast. My first question with you guys is, how did ML Nashik come into the picture?
Okay, so back in days when I was in third year, I attended AWS event. So जब मैं गया तो मुझे लगा कि लाइक ऐसा भी कुछ होता है, ऐसा भी कल्चर है, क्योंकि नासिक में उतना है नहीं तो मुझे पता नहीं था. सो जब भी मैंने अटेंड किया तो मुझे लगा यार कि ऑडियंस में नहीं होना चाहिए, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम में होना चाहिए. लगता है ना, हमें एक फीलिंग आती है. सो उसके बाद लाइक कॉलेजेस में, मतलब कॉलेज में मैं इवेंट्स होस्ट करता था. देन वाइल मतलब डिप्लोमा से में मशीन लर्निंग में इंटरेस्ट है. सो आई वाज जस्ट लाइक लर्निंग मशीन लर्निंग स्टफ. सो इंटरनेट में सर्च करके सीखता था. सो ऐसे ही मुझे मतलब टेंसर फ्लो में के बारे में देखते देखते मुझे पता चला कि टेंसर फ्लो यूज़र ग्रुप जैसे कुछ होता है. सो मैंने देखा. सो आई गेट टू नो लाइक देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ चैप्टर्स इन अदर सिटीज़. सो मैंने देखा कि नासिक में नहीं है. सो आई थॉट हम ही स्टार्ट करते हैं. सो देयर वाज अ फॉर्म. सो आई जस्ट फिल आउट. देन उन्होंने मुझे रीच आउट किया. देन उन्होंने मुझे पूछा थोड़ा सा प्लान एंड वो बताओ. देन मैंने थोड़ा उन्हें प्लान बताया. फिर टीम सेट की थी. सो टीम मेंबर्स भी मेरे ही प्रोजेक्ट ग्रुप जो होते हैं फाइनल ईयर्स के, तो वही थे. सो उनको लिया एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड द चैप्टर. सो पहले मतलब नासिक में ऐसा कोई चैप्टर नहीं था जो मतलब मशीन लर्निंग पे फोकस करे, या फिर हाँ जी अदर जीडीजी चैप्टर्स भी है, बट वो इतना एक्टिव नहीं थे. और वो उसकी वजह से हमें पता भी नहीं था कि ऐसा कुछ एग्जिस्ट करता है. क्योंकि आई गेस मेरे कॉलेज में उनका उसी ईयर में एक डेव फेस्ट इवेंट था. देन तभी मुझे पता चला कि जीडीजी नासिक करके भी कुछ होता है एंड वैसे भी चैप्टर्स हैं. देन वैसे फिर हमने फिर दिसंबर 2022 में फर्स्ट इवेंट ऑनलाइन इवेंट होस्ट किया, टेंसर फ्लो यूज़र ग्रुप नासिक का. एंड देन जो अभी तक चल रहा है.
So okay, Anurag, I remember the time as you mentioned about your first event. I was also an attendee at that event at that time. So at that time, in my college, fest was going on, and I just saw the banner of inauguration ceremony of TensorFlow user groups Nashik. I think it was at Guru Gobind Singh.
That was our second event, but first event we have done online on Google Meet, I guess.
I'm talking about the offline
okay.
event,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
yeah. So I was also attendee at that event, and that was the time from which I knew about TensorFlow user group Nashik, and such community exists in Nashik, and I was exposed to this kind of communities like GDG and TensorFlow user groups, which is now ML community Nashik. So yeah, it was awesome meeting you at that event, and yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah.
That's great. So what role does Google plays with ML Nashik?
So there are various chapters for different categories, like GDG chapters, which covers all technologies, mainly cloud, Android, web technologies. And there is machine learning chapters which were TensorFlow user group Nashik. Firstly, they were focused on TensorFlow technology. Now they are focusing on all ML related technology, as like they have evolved through various ML technologies. So they have created an umbrella term, and which is now, I guess, in June they have rebranded to ML communities. So now TensorFlow is ML communities. So we rebranded to ML machine learning Nashik.
Yeah,
And,
I think the idea behind this was that Google came into picture with Gemini and Gemma large language models.
Right.
So they wanted to promote this under the same communities, that is TensorFlow user groups Nashik. But the factor affecting this promotion was that TensorFlow was a deep learning framework, and it didn't suited well of promoting Gemini or large language models under these groups. So yeah, they just transitioned to ML communities, and now I think ML communities can support wide range of topics from native machine learning, open source machine learning packages, and all the stuff under machine learning.
Correct. So yeah, this is a lot of questions asked by the gates. How did you got motivated getting into this field, AI field?
Okay, so when I was exploring, I get to know that firstly I just saw that movie we have, everyone has just saw that robot movie
Correct.
and some Hollywood movies. Then so that influences everyone, and everyone from that movie like has one picture that in future robot will take over the, at least they will do
Correct. Main brain of
daily activities of humans. So from that I get fascinated that AI ML कुछ है भाई, कुछ अच्छा हो सकता है. Then I started learning AI ML and slowly get to know that AI ML has lots of, right, it has very powerful, it is a powerful technology that will be very helpful in the future, in upcoming future. And स्टार्टिंग से ऐसे ही लगता था ऐसा कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी में हाथ होना चाहिए जो कुछ अच्छा करे एंड इवॉल्व करे ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज़ को. सो वैसे मेरा इंटरेस्ट आया.
You, first of all, you mentioned about a robot movie. There's a similar one in Hollywood. I don't remember its name. Do you know it? I think it's Transformers or
Yes,
Terminator. Which one is Transformers?
Transformer is also one.
Car.
Yeah, yes,
And
Transformer.
Terminator is the one that
Yeah.
talks about robots overtaking the world and all that stuff. So yeah, that's fascinating first of all. But for me, the scenario was I started with HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and this kind of stuff. So I used to develop like cool websites, animation websites. They are still present on my GitHub. So yeah, you can have a look at that. So when I was one evening when I was trying to develop a website, I showed that to my uncle who is a software engineer at Deloitte currently. So I just showed him, hey, just look at my cool website, and he was like, this kind of templates are present all over the internet.
correct.
You get the HTML, CSS code of such kind of websites, and you can just take it and all your efforts are in vain. You're taking efforts for something that can be automated or can be generated by ChatGPT.
Right.
I won't say that UI UX is dead, but the kind of work which I was doing at that time was pretty much anyone can do that, or was easier to be done. So he just wrote on my notebook that focus on this thing, and the word was ML. So at that time, I just dived into Python, and then I started having look towards the roadmap and ML side of tech. So yeah, that was my motivation or journey, or motivation to get started with machine learning
Okay.
and stuff. Yeah.
Before diving into the community questions, how did Pranav got into the ML NASA?
Should you answer this?
Yeah, you can answer.
I'll go with this. So first of all, as I mentioned, I was just a community member of TensorFlow user groups Nashik, but at that time I just saw announcement about Keras Community Day 2023.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting story behind this. So at that time I was contributing to Keras core, Keras NLP. At that time Keras was transitioning from Keras TensorFlow backend to Keras multiple backend of PyTorch, JAX and TensorFlow. So many of the contributors had the opportunity in open source to contribute to Keras at that time. So I got a good understanding of Keras, and having Keras Community Day hosted in my city was a cherry on cake.
Correct.
And yeah, so I just applied for a speaker at Keras Community Day, and then we met, and that's how I actually became the co-organizer of TensorFlow user groups Nashik. Anurag really liked my presentation on that day, and he came up with the opportunity for that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what kind of activities in ML Nasik you guys conduct, and what is the major source?
Yeah, you mean the motivation or
So like
events.
what we host, like what activities
yeah,
does
yeah.
ML?
activities you do in ML Nasik?
So mostly we host online, offline events on ML technologies, which mainly focus on Google technologies, and then we host workshops, so hands-on workshops,
Okay.
and Kaggle competitions. Also, there are so throughout the year there are some campaigns which we host. So like from Google we get guidelines that there are some uh, campaigns which we have which like you have to host. It's not mandatory, but they create some timeline for that. So there are multiple campaigns. Like last year there was a Keras Community Day,
Right.
and in May I guess we have hosted Kaggle competition. So that was a
ML
time.
Olympia.
So we host online session, offline sessions, then Kaggle competitions, workshops. Also now we have there are some campaigns, ML Study Jam,
Right.
then Paper Club, and also Maths Club.
Correct.
So these three campaigns are for foundational level, so to building foundational level in machine learning. So all the activities are based on beginner friendly and foundational level of the machine learning.
Okay, that's great. And yep, so before we dive into the other questions, let's get into the questions which have been asked by students. Many of the kids actually fail to start their journey in AI. So what are your suggestions on that? Like the most of the first year and second year students, they try to start their journey, but they get failed. That there are a lot of topics, techniques, NLP and all. So like, what are your suggestions? Could you just give a roadmap for them?
So I don't know about lots of people, but I have seen most of the folks. Because they get stuck in the loop of like just finding what is actual roadmap,
Correct.
what is actual material,
Right.
and they don't do any practical thing, or they don't learn about AI/ML. They just watch lots of videos, सीखे कैसे आगे बढ़े, and the main thing is that they want to learn in a very quick way and they want result very quick.
Right.
That is not possible. Like if you are starting something to learn, then at least you will it will take 1 or 2 months to learn. So they think like आज मैं सीख रहा हूँ, महीने के एंड में मुझे ये जॉब चाहिए, 20 लाख तो लगना ही चाहिए. That's not possible because any technology need to be have foundational level very strong.
Correct. That's true.
और AML में जैसे मैथ्स का फाउंडेशन होता है वो स्ट्रॉन्ग चाहिए, थोड़ा एनालिसिस का पार्ट होता है,
Correct.
स्टैटिस्टिक का पार्ट होता है, वो स्ट्रॉन्ग चाहिए. सो दिस आर द सम पॉइंट्स वेयर पीपल आर गेटिंग फेल.
Right.
Yeah, and I will say that in machine learning, you should have some practical projects built, as you mentioned. And what students actually do is they buy a course on Udemy or somewhere, and they get stuck in the tutorial hell. They start with Python. That's absolutely correct. You need to start with Python, but afterwards they go with pandas, NumPy, and what they try to do is they try to learn the whole library of pandas,
Correct.
which is not feasible, right? Pandas has tons of functions, and they try to like uh, not learn, but implement all of those functions in the pandas API or NumPy API. But what I will suggest is just try to know why pandas is essential, why NumPy is essential, and how you can leverage them for machine learning. So a basic roadmap for this will be try to know how you can bring your data frame or CSV to pandas, and try to know how you can manipulate those columns using NumPy. Try to know how you can plot that using Matplotlib, and further how you can pass that to a scikit-learn model. So scikit-learn is a library for machine learning, and pandas is the data container for scikit-learn. So you can pass pandas data frame to scikit-learn. Once you have done with that, you can go in deep learning side of thing. Just make sure that you know some basic concepts of scikit-learn, like categorical encoding, one-hot encoding, and how you can remove or reprocess your data. And yeah, I think the California housing price prediction example is pretty famous for this exercise. So yeah, once you have done that, I think you can jump into deep learning side of thing in machine learning.
Yeah. So, yep, this is all about. And you have also worked with open source before.
Yeah.
And lot of gigs actually get stuck off that. So, what are your suggestions? Like, how did you started your journey in open source? And like, you got about GSoC as well in this year. And yep, so
I will say I saw a podcast. We are recording a podcast, and I saw a podcast of Kunal Kushwaha and Ishan Sharma, in which the podcast thumbnail was "First Year Student Cracked GSoC." So a pretty catchy title for the video, and I just opened that, and then I got to know about there's a program called Google Summer of Code, in which everyone has the opportunity, regardless of the gender, sex, or city or anything. So this program promotes open source project. Any open source project that Google recognizes is supported by Google Summer of Code, and they onboard contributors with the help of mentors and organization admins, where students work on an open source project for 3 or 4 months, and they get a stipend for that. So it's a win-win situation that you work with the industry experts and also get a stipend. And at the end, this program is backed by Google, so you have that Google tag too. And yeah, do you want to add something for getting started?
What should I say? Like, I have not cracked the GSoC, but because I get to know about GSoC very late,
okay.
as per yeah, because in my college, students are just come to just they came to college, and they just do like you can say just वेल्लागिरी you can say मतलब कुछ करते ही नहीं है, क्योंकि कॉलेज में आते हैं और जो वो होता है ना, एक पॉइंट होता है जहाँ सब मिलते हैं और टाइम पास करते, वही होता है। एंड लेक्चर्स भी कोई करता नहीं था, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था। सो जैसे प्रणव ने भी बोला, सो मैंने भी एक वीडियो देखा, तो मतलब मेरे रिकमेंडेशन में आया, सो मुझे पता चला GSoC होता है। सो आई वाज इन माय 3rd ईयर, सो तभी मतलब GSoC आने ही वाला था, आई गेस नहीं, 1 मंथ का ही कुछ गैप था, बट GSoC के लिए थोड़ा पहले से हमें बिल्डअप करना, मतलब फाउंडेशन करना पड़ता है, जो प्रोजेक्ट में हमें सिलेक्ट होना है, वो मुझे पता नहीं था। GSoC आया, मैंने एप्लीकेशन पहले देखा कैसे भरते हैं, क्योंकि हम डायरेक्ट तो ऐसे नहीं डाल सकते, हाँ भाई मुझे सिलेक्ट करना। सो आई रेफर लॉट्स ऑफ एप्लीकेशन एंड देन create a nice application and then apply for the GSoC. I guess I had applied for 2 or 3 GSoC projects, but I not get selected for that. So मुझे लगा जान दो, हमारे लिए तो नहीं।
That's not the correct way to apply for GSoC.
After नहीं, फिर बाद में जब मैंने देखा कि GSoC में अप्लाई कैसे करते हैं, क्योंकि सिलेक्ट क्यों नहीं हुए, ऐसा नहीं कि हमें प्रोग्रामिंग आती नहीं है, बट बाद में पता चला कि लाइक जो प्रोजेक्ट में हमें करना है, तो उसके में थोड़ा फाउंडेशन करना होता है, मतलब पहले थोड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन करना होता है, थोड़ा काम करना पड़ता है, ताकि हम वो मतलब जो प्रोजेक्ट है वो भी हमें रिकॉग्नाइज करें एंड ऑल। सो बाद में मुझे लेट पता चला, ऐसा नहीं है। और तभी ऐसा था ना कि लाइक ओनली फॉर कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स, सो और 4th ईयर में चले गए हम, और 4th ईयर में फिर वो प्लेसमेंट एंड फिर उसमें मैंने किया ही नहीं था।
There is a common phrase, the speed with you apply is the speed with which you get rejected. So I think that happened with you. You just had 1 month of time. But as you mentioned, I want to elaborate on my selection of GSoC. So I also wanted to crack it in the first year itself. And the organization with which I was working in my first year was SK Time. But what happened actually, due to some organizational disturbance or disturbance in the governance of this organization, it didn't actually appeared in Google Summer of Code that year. So I just lost the opportunity in 2022, but later in 2023 I had a strong portfolio because I was contributing to MindsDB, I was contributing to Keras, I was contributing to PyTorch Lightning. So my GitHub was completely green. That's what you need for the selection in GSoC. So that actually helped. And the surprising thing is that I was thinking to do my GSoC with the organization of Keras, but Keras didn't appear. But the organization for which I was looking in 2022 in my first year, that actually appeared, and I applied for that, and I got selected.
So it's like that you need to work on their contributions or the contributions you're doing separately. Like what is the
I need to work on the repository of a certain organization.
okay?
And there are somewhat like 600 to 700 organizations, and every organization gets a slot for GSoC based on their previous experience or previous performance in GSoC. So a organization that is coming in GSoC for somewhat 10 years or 5 years gets huge number of applicants and also is able to accommodate that huge number of applicants. So suppose there is an organization that has just came, it's their first year in GSoC. They won't get that many seats from Google, so they'll just get somewhat 2 or 3 seats for contributors. But if there's an organization that's coming from the past 10 years, they get somewhat 16, 32 number of selected applicants for GSoC.
Okay.
So like as you said, you want to apply for the KRS and it doesn't
didn't
appear.
appear.
But were you contributing to SK Time previously?
No, at that time I wasn't contributing to SK Time.
Okay, then
I was contributing to Keras, but there's a period between organizations are announced and contributor applications begin. So as soon as I saw that the organizations are announced, I just went through that and I saw Keras is not there, what should I do? Then I started finding some other organizations or backup plans and I saw SK Time. So in that 2 months of gap between organization announced and application period, I contributed extensively to SK Time. So that basically made my application stronger with SK Time.
it's like someone who get to know about GSoC at like 2-3 months back, so they can also like if they contribute to the project, so the
they can
chances to get selected for the GSoC gets high.
But I think now is the correct time to start. Was looking at the competition. There are certain IITs that benchmark them based on the number of selections in GSoC. So I have my one friend in IIT Roorkee, and he was like कि हमारी college first होती है GSoC number of selections में and stuff like that. So IIT people from IIT are crazy about GSoC, and the competition is actually higher for reputed organizations. So yeah, you need to work for that. I
Yeah,
think.
they are crazy because they start learning and contributing to various projects at early in their college life. Because the environment at IITs is different as compared to our college. So that's why competition is high for that.
So like while selecting the candidates, like how does Google or GSoC members select these candidates or the organization? Like how does it work?
Yeah, so you have to submit a proposal.
Okay.
In proposal, you have to mention the abstract, what you are going to do, then what you plan to do for that organization. So suppose an organization needs something to be worked upon, which is huge and will take time. So I will propose that I will solve this problem or I will do this enhancement for this organization in the period of GSoC. And while making my proposal, I have to mention the timeline too, that in the first week I'm going to do this thing, in the second week I'm going to do this thing. So similar to this, I made a proposal for all the weeks, and I remember I had my week 4 as vacation written over there that I am going to Goa, so I won't be available. That was pretty risky thing, but I already had a talk with my mentor about this, so I was confident that my proposal won't get rejected based on this, that I am uh, taking a off for 1 week. But yeah, you have to mention the timeline, and you have to also mention potential blockers in your project. So suppose we don't know prior time that what's going to happen while building the project. So if something gets blocked, you should be prepared for that. So they just want a thing that you know what you're going to do in this whole 3 months. That gives a surety to Google and the organization that yeah, this contributor can make it. Yeah, that's it.
So like, if I am contributing to project, then still I have to create a proposal. Then what's the difference between someone who is contributing and like applying for that with a proposal, and same candidate who is not contributing to that project, but he has created a nice proposal and he has a nice profile also. And what's the difference between that?
So there's a catch in this. So talking about your question, you are telling about a scenario where there's a strong profile of contributor with his good GitHub, and there's another contributor, pretty basic profile, but he's with the project from the beginning, right?
And he is not contributing to that project. As you said, like you have contributed to SK Time 2 months before the GSoC, then your chances get increases for the selection. You also have to apply with a proposal, and there is another candidate who has also applied for that organization with a like you can say pretty fine proposal. So what's the difference?
Yeah,
for
I
that?
understood. So the selection is done by organization admins, and the selection is not done by Google. So Google doesn't interfere. They actually go through your proposal, but the selections are done by organization admin. So what the organization admin do is he will rank the proposals based on the proposal quality. Some organizations also take a test before this proposal stuff, so they can rank your proposal based on the test too, or interview. So suppose I get 10 proposals on the same project, I will rank those. Once they are ranked, the organization admin will rank those proposals. So having a good relation with the organization admin helps over here, because if the organization admin already knows that yeah, this guy has been working with us before GSoC, he's not here for GSoC, he's been working from the past 2-3 months, so I am damn sure that he will complete this project too.
They have the authority that
Yeah. So that gives you a chance, or that gives a chance to the organization admin to rank your proposal higher. And suppose there are 10 proposals, the organization admin will select 5 of them. He will rank them based on the quality of proposal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and send them to the Google. Now what does Google do here is, based on the funds at that year, they'll, based on the funds and all other factors, they'll try to select these proposals. So if Google is good with all 5 proposals, they will select all 5 proposals. But if they are not comfortable, or they didn't like the 2 of the proposals, or they are short of funds for that project, for that organization, then they might just cut off to the first 2 proposals in that ranking, because a new organization may not get most of the proposals selected, as I mentioned. So yeah, that basically depends on Google, and no one can intervene in that.
So like there's one question I have, like when you are creating a proposal, so have you mentioned that we have to mention what we will be working on throughout the months?
Yeah.
So does we have to mention what, like the issues which are already on the their GitHub repository, or any new thing that we have to work on, or that?
Cool. So as I mentioned, there's a time called organizations announced.
Okay.
So when these organizations get announced, they are announced along with the idea list of that organization. So the organizations first apply to Google that, hey, we want to be part of Google Summer of Code. And what Google expects from them is they have some list of ideas that they want to be worked on.
Okay.
So every organization has 3 or 4 ideas of many ideas which they display on their page that, hey, these are the ideas which we want to work on during the summer under the part of Google Summer of Code. And the contributors can go through these ideas of particular organization and they can select with which they are comfortable or they are technically skilled with that idea, and they can make a proposal on that idea. That's the part of that. Yeah.
So I guess how many of among those gigs are being selected for this, for the GSoC?
I think I can't tell the exact number, but like in my organization, 10 people applied, from which 6 or 5 of them were invited for the interview.
Okay.
And after taking interview, they ranked the proposal based on their interview performance. But as my organization was a bit old with GSoC and had good relations with this program, so all 5 proposals got selected.
That's great.
And talking about the overall scenario in Google Summer of Code, I think they received somewhat 10,000 or a great number of applications, and only 800 or 1200, there's a range, every year it changes, but a range of 800 to 1200 is the number, are the people that actually get selected.
Okay, so like you have talked about GSoC, like we have to contribute 2 or 3 months before. But if someone is beginner who has just started his open source journey, then like there are some steps because if I'm a beginner, I can't directly contribute to such big projects. So like before contributing to such projects, so what should like which project should I choose for the contribution that like give me exposure to before contributing to such big projects? So some steps for the beginners who are just getting started in the open source.
So for open source, you need to know in which part of development you need to contribute to. That's different from DSA or competitive programming, which most of the students in Indian colleges do. Development is other part of tech. So you don't need to solve a problem or do something in open source development. You actually need to build a product or do an enhancement in open source. So for getting started with open source, first you need to decide that whether I want to contribute in technology of Android, machine learning or web. For me it was machine learning, but it can be different for someone who is interested in web development or Android development or cyber security, blockchain. So decide that first. Once that's decided, see what tech stack these organizations are using. So for machine learning, it's actually Python. Some organizations use Julia or some other languages like the one that's for data analysis. I think that's R. Yeah, that's also being used, but mainly it's Python. So once you have decided the tech stack or the language and the field in which you're going to contribute to, go and look for organizations or repositories that you can leverage to solve your problems. So for me, before contributing to TensorFlow, I used TensorFlow. So that comes out naturally. For Ketan, it could be before contributing to Arduino or any robotics based repository. He's actually going to use that first. Once he starts using that, he might find some issues that he thinks can be solved by him. So that was same with me. When I was going through the Keras code, I thought that this documentation could be better. And I reached to the organization admins with, I think that this documentation needs to be fixed or something like that. And that basically is the path which comes naturally, that before contributing to any project, you actually need to use that project or know about that project, and then that makes things lot of simpler to contribute. Other thing is know about version control systems like Git and GitHub. Git is a version control system, while GitHub is a platform where this Git version controlled projects are hosted, right? So there's alternative for Git too, that's GitLab, but most of the projects are on GitHub. So on GitHub, there's like issues and pull request section. That's complete open source part. So I won't go more deeper into that, but try to know about GitHub, and how you can make a copy of a certain project and contribute to that project.
Yeah, like if any beginner wants to start, like there was one like if you want to start open source, start with like some small issues. So there was a fun fact back in days, like just contribute to readme if you are a beginner. So like every beginner just started spamming to contribute to readme. So like and like I'm doing contribution and just
Yeah.
they are just spamming for the readme and.
That's not the correct practice in open source. Me as a maintainer right now actually hate such kinds of PR, because a maintainer receives email of every PR that happens on
yeah.
the repository. So I won't like that I wake up in the morning and see somewhat 100 emails in my inbox. I have to mute my own repository if things like this happen. So yeah, it's not suggested to make spammy PRs in open source. This was done by some misleading channel. I
Yes.
won't take the name, but yeah, it was a famous channel for DSA. What they tried was to teach the students open source, and the audience didn't took it in that way and spammed the Express.js repository. If I'm not. Wrong.
But like every repository has some beginner-friendly issues.
Yeah.
So there, if you go to that repository, there are some beginner-friendly issues. So if you are just a beginner, so you can, the issues are just for the beginners only because like they don't have the knowledge of that whole product. So there are also some beginner-friendly issues. So you can like someone who is starting, they can refer that. So like they will get to know what is the product, how to do contribution to the project. So like they can start from that also, but not spamming to a readme. Yeah, you can start like you can contribute to that, but not just always spamming for that.
I would say
only.
that's also a good thing, because actually you know how you can create a copy, make changes, and create a pull request.
Yeah.
So it's a good practice, but don't do it on some well-recognized repositories. Try to make it on your friend's repository or project. Don't do it on a big project that's being used worldwide by big firms and industries. Yeah, that's not a good practice then.
Yes, correct. So recently you guys were invited for Google I/O and in Bangalore. So how was your experience about that?
That was a great, amazing experience. Like Google I/O is a flagship event which they host every year. So in Google I/O, they just introduce about their latest advancement, new technology, or anything they are like improving in previous tech. So that was a really great experience in Google I/O. Google I/O is actually open for everyone. Like anyone can go to the Google I/O. You just have to register because there are some limitation of the capacity, and there are lots of booths of various technologies, new advancement or new technology they have bring to the like for the developers. So it's a developer conference, you can say. So there are sessions on what they have built or what their upcoming future technologies, and also like booths of for a specific like there are categories of booths like Android section, web technology section, AIML sections where their latest technology related specific booths where you can go and just know about what is like what they are working on or how we can use that for our projects. So it was amazing experience because from all over India there were developers and some foreigners which were like I guess
From Google.
which from Google they had came to the conference.
Foreigners. I mean, the employees working in different region, but were based from Google.
Yeah, foreigners who are working in a Google because like foreigners are more like they focus on their
Yeah, they
work.
got to know about the diversity and culture, tech culture in India. So they are invited. But I want to mention that we didn't attend the Google I/O, which is conducted on Mountain View, California.
We attended Google I/O India,
India, yes,
which was in a bank.
which was in Bangalore, and it was specific to the Indian community
Yeah.
and Indian startups. So how Google for India is helping Indian startups to grow or the tech in India, how Google is taking measures to make that feasible for people in India was the focus of the event. And there were some fun events too. I did a penalty kick shootout with Anurag, and we got a scorecard of ours, the one like FIFA game which we get, and that was all done by Gemini. So that's a excellent tech implementation for entertainment or fun
Yeah.
thing at events. So yeah, it was an amazing
Like
event.
yeah, there was some activities which were a fun part, but they were showcasing how technology can be used. So and one of the like panel because football is famous, so they have created a penalty kick game to like people will interact also, and they will also get to know about how technology can be used, and they are using technology.
It's absolutely amazing. So, what are your goals regarding ML Nashik? What are your upcoming plans?
So like
I won't reveal them.
so now from this year we are getting like amazing response from the audience, and people are also excited what ML Nashik brings. So from in future we will bring more like hands-on workshops where they will learn actual something, not just you can theory part, just प्रेजेंटेशन हो रहा है बस कुछ नहीं बाकी दिमाग में इतना गया बस उतना नहीं some hands on workshop some new activities also because एक एक चीज़ करके बोर ही हो जाएंगे some new activities also like we are now planning to host as I said match clubs paper reading we have not tried till yet because we were not getting that response like so now we will plan more foundational level to getting one step to advanced level.
Right, that's something amazing.
Yeah.
Also, now I would like to thank you guys for your valuable time doing this podcast with me, and also special thanks to KK Work for giving this as a venue partner.
ये कट कर दे.
So yeah, thank you so much.
And yeah, one thing I would like to mention is just add some guides and roadmaps which I'll share with you in
Sure.
the description. That may help the viewers. I'll try to write a blog too on my GSoC journey. So the ones that who don't prefer audio content can actually go and read that. And yeah, thank you, Ketan.
So you can check out in our link in description of the PFG India or ML Nashik. So thank you guys for your time. We can- So thank you for watching this podcast. I hope all of your queries must be attended. And if you have any queries, you can just fill out the form given in the link in description. And also make sure to follow, like, share, and also join our community through WhatsApp. Thank you so much.